Hey there, and welcome to HisTime365. I'm so glad you're here for day 19 of our 365-day journey through the Bible. Today, we'll look at Exodus 10 through 12, and I'll walk you through what happens, what it means, and why it matters. I'll share a summary and some insights to help you see the big picture and connect with the heart of the scripture. During your quiet time, I encourage you to read today's lesson in a Bible translation that speaks to you best. Now grab a quiet moment, take a deep breath, and let's spend a few minutes giving God His time. The final plague and the Passover, freedom at last. Imagine living in a land where every day feels like a battle for freedom. That's the reality for the Israelites in Egypt. And today's story from Exodus 10 to 12 brings us closer to their liberation. It's a gripping tale of plagues, power struggles, and ultimately, the promise of deliverance. As we dive into this section of Exodus, we first encounter the ninth plague, darkness that could be felt. God sends Moses back to Pharaoh, warning him about this intense darkness that will cover the land for 3 days. The presence of this heavy darkness was so oppressive that the Egyptians couldn't see one another, yet the Israelites had light in their dwellings. Exodus 10:23. This plague serves as a stark reminder of the spiritual blindness and ignorance that can plague our lives. Pharaoh's heart remained hard, refusing to let the Israelites go. He offered a compromise, suggesting they could go and worship, but leave their flocks behind. Moses, however, knew that they needed to take everything. Pharaoh's stubbornness led to the final plague announcement. God would strike down the firstborn of every Egyptian family, from Pharaoh's own son to the firstborn of the livestock. Exodus 11:5. This was a powerful warning and a reflection of the cost of disobedience to God's commands. As we transition into the 12th chapter, we see God providing detailed instructions for the Israelites to prepare for the final plague. They were to select a lamb without blemish, sacrifice it, and paint its blood on the doorposts of their homes. This sign would protect them from the coming judgment. God declared, "When I see the blood, I will pass over you." Exodus 12:13, marking a pivotal moment in Israelite history. Picture this. Families gathering together, preparing the lamb with care, sharing a meal with loved ones, and encouraging one another in faith. This meal, known as the Passover, was not just physical sustenance. It was an act of obedience and trust in God's promise. The Israelites had to eat it in haste, dressed and ready to leave, as this night would change everything. The moment finally arrived. As midnight struck, God fulfilled His word. A great cry arose in Egypt as every firstborn was struck down. The devastation was unimaginable, breaking Pharaoh's resolve. He called for Moses and Aaron, urging them to leave with their people. "Rise up and get you forth from among my people," he cried, Exodus 12:31. The Israelites left in haste, taking their unleavened bread and precious possessions. They departed with a newfound hope, ready to embrace their journey to freedom. This event marked the beginning of a new life for them, one filled with challenges, but also with the promise of God's presence. Now let's bring this ancient story into our modern lives. Think about work. Sometimes we face huge obstacles that feel impossible to overcome, similar to Pharaoh's resistance. Just as the Israelites had to trust God through their trials, we too can rely on faith when challenges arise in our careers. In family life, the concept of the Passover reminds us of the importance of unity and preparation. Just as the Israelites gathered together for the Passover meal, we can prioritize family dinners and time together, discussing our faith and values. It's in these moments that we build a sense of belonging and spiritual foundation. When we consider our finances, we might feel trapped like the Israelites were in Egypt. Yet with wise stewardship and faith, we can break free from the chains of debt and financial worry. The Israelites left Egypt with the riches of their captors, serving as a reminder that God provides for us even in difficult times. Mental health is another area where we can reflect on the Israelites' journey. The weight of darkness can feel heavy, much like the plagues that surrounded them. Just as God provided light for His people, We can seek support from friends, family, and professionals to help us navigate through our mental health challenges. And in today's digital life, we often find ourselves distracted and overwhelmed like the Egyptians in their blindness. Just as the Israelites had to focus on God's instructions, we too can benefit from setting boundaries with technology, prioritizing real-life connections, and finding moments of stillness to hear God's voice. As we wrap up this story, let's remember how God's faithfulness led the Israelites from bondage to freedom. They had to trust Him, prepare for change, and embrace the new life He was offering them. Let us be courageous in our faith journey, knowing that deliverance is possible when we trust in God's promises. How can we prepare our hearts and homes for God's presence, similar to how the Israelites prepared for the Passover? What are some modern-day plagues we face that can hinder our freedom, and how can we overcome them with faith? In what ways can we support our families to grow spiritually, inspired by the Israelites' unity during the Passover? How can we apply the lesson of trusting God in challenging times to our current life situations? Thanks so much for joining me today for HisTime365. Remember, today's reading is Exodus 10 through 12, so be sure to spend some time with those verses during your quiet time. Tomorrow, we'll be diving into Exodus 13 through 15, so feel free to read ahead if you'd like to prepare. If you enjoyed this time together, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so that you never miss a day on this journey. I'll see you back right here tomorrow for day 20. Until then, stay encouraged, and thank you for giving God His time today.